Oh.
If you're interested in learning to trade on Betfair, then visit the BetAngel Academy, where you have detailed, structured Betfair trading courses. Or why not visit our website where you can download a free trial of BetAngel Professional, but also visit the forum where you can get detailed images, examples, and downloadable files. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the bell icon if you want notification of new videos as they're released. So I hope you enjoyed that little introduction to the video. There's nothing like making a fool of yourself, is there? Apart from if it's in the markets, and then there is a problem with that. But yeah, the intro was a nod to the film Four Weddings and a Funeral. Why? Well, because this video is sort of about four weddings and a funeral. In the near on 20 years that I've been in the market, that is how many weddings I've attended and how many funerals I've attended, rather bizarrely. And I only noticed this weekend, because I was going to do a video, and by the time you see this video on Saturday evening, I will be gently sozzled somewhere at a wedding reception. Because yeah, I will not be trading this Saturday. Well, I say I won't be trading. In fact, I will be trading, because BetAngel will be doing some automation for me. It will be running overnight and during the day, and it will be doing a little bit of work for me, but typically I will be sitting at my desk here on a Saturday, working as hard as I can. There are many ways to trade the markets. You can trade them manually, you can trade them automatically, you can do both, you can semi-automate it. But typically I will be sat here, the automation will be running, I'll be doing some manual trading, and I'll be doing a bit of other stuff as well. Like I've said before, my trading has evolved over the years from being just a purely manual trader with quite simplistic strategies into something a bit more complicated. And I consider myself now to be a conductor of an orchestra. I will play an instrument myself, but I will also look after everything else that's going on as well. I figured out that that's the way that you can maximize your trading. So it's something that you should pursue, because it opens up a whole new set of avenues for you in terms of your ability to trade and what you can do when you're trading. And you will discover stuff that you haven't seen before. So yeah, I won't be trading this Saturday, but I will, because I will be doing some automation in the background. But my results this Saturday will be below par, simply because I've made the decision to go to the wedding. And I say I've made a decision to go to the wedding. Well, of course, you know, if you're invited to a wedding, you would go. But one of the remarkable things about my journey through the markets is that when you look at those four weddings, they've actually occurred at non-peak times for me. I've had two weddings in June. And the great thing about this wedding is that it's my brother-in-law that's getting married. And when he came up to me and said, "Oh, I'm getting married," and I said, "Oh, you know, what's the date?" And he said, "Oh, June next year." And, you know, I couldn't help but think at the back of my head, Royal Ascot, Derby, you know, all of these sort of things. But thankfully, when he scheduled it between the Derby, which I traded last weekend very successfully, thankfully, and Royal Ascot. So he's actually put his wedding right bang in the middle of those two major events. And I didn't coerce him in any way. It was just a wonderful coincidence. And I've been subject to many of these wonderful coincidences over the year. And in fact, through my entire career, most of the weddings that I've been to, well, actually all of them, have missed all of those key sort of periods, which was very coincidental, but very helpful as well. So the last wedding I attended was back in December. Fantastic wedding, fantastic venue, unbelievable day. Wouldn't have missed it for anything. And this wedding, when it comes round to here, it sits right in between those two critical periods. So the automation will do a bit of trading for me. I won't be able to manually trade, so my result will be a little bit lower. But yeah, obviously I'm delighted to attend a wedding. I wouldn't consider an invite from somebody to a key event, you know, a birth, a christening, a wedding, or some major thing. You know, my daughter has a graduation ceremony in July, so I will be attending that. To be honest, I haven't checked the dates. I'm not sure when it is. I think it's on a Friday. But yeah, those key important life events are things, obviously, that you should do. Because, you know, there's going to be another Derby next year, there's going to be another Royal Ascot. So if it would have fallen on either of those 2 days, I would have gone, oh, well, that's a shame, because I really would have liked to have done those days. But I'm not going to turn around to my brother-in-law and say, "Hey, Richard, I'm not coming to your wedding because there's a really good market on a Saturday." But you know, you must know that Saturdays are sacrosanct for me. Those are days that I must trade. And the reason for that is quite simple, really. It's my job. That's what I do. I'm a sports trader, I work in sports, and all of the sports peak on a Saturday. And there's nothing you can do about that. You have to set expectations with people that Saturdays are the days that you do that. and then you find ways to work around that. So typically, you know, if you look at the amount of money that you could make on a Saturday, or whether you cut it any number of different ways, it always peaks on a Saturday. So before producing this video, I had a quick look at the data that I've got, knocked it up really quickly. I hope there's no errors in there, but it looks about right for me. But if you look at the way that the week works, basically it's nothing really goes on a Monday, and then it peaks dramatically on a Saturday. And that's why Saturdays are so important to me. I would only give them up for personal events, really, because you can't miss those. Those are things that are off limits in terms of turning them down to trade. But, you know, you have to gear most of your week up around the weekend, because that's when you make most of your money. I have to run the stats fully, but probably 70-80% of what I make is geared around all of those peak moments at the weekend. That's a really critically important part of what you do. And, you know, you sometimes think that maybe that's being a bit unsociable or whatever, but no, you just shift it around a bit. So, you know, Sundays I don't tend to trade. The volume drops off and the status of events drops off on a Sunday. So I tend to have Sundays off, apart from perhaps if it's the Guineas or something like that, or the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe. Is the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe run on a Sunday? I think it is. So yeah, there are some things that do occur on a Sunday, but generally not. And then especially when you look at this time of the year in the summer, what tends to happen is the number of race meetings on a Monday and a Tuesday drop to 2. They tend to be quite low quality, and therefore they're not that interesting, really. You could sit there all day on a Monday and a Tuesday, try and do the best that you can, and really not make a lot. You could probably make in one event on a Saturday what you could make on the entire day on a Monday. So I get more relaxed as we move into June during the summer about not doing Mondays or Tuesdays. And in fact, Tuesdays tend to be low quality jumps meetings, and they tend to be, you know, lacking appeal for me. And not every Tuesday, but that's, you know, there's a tendency to run, say for example on a Tuesday evening, low quality jumps, and that doesn't appeal to me. So typically I'll sort of have a Sunday and a Tuesday off. Those are the days that I tend to take off, apart from if there's a major event. So I think you've seen on other videos, I did something for my daughter on a Saturday, and obviously, you know, weddings get included into that mix in terms of days that I have to be doing something else. But the great thing now, you know, if we go back sort of 10 years ago, automation wasn't such a big part of what I do, but it is now. So that will still be churning away for me doing something. And, you know, that sort of means that actually there's less pressure now anyway, because if I wanted to, I could just not do anything manual whatsoever, and I would still be pulling in a bit of money. So it's not absolutely critical if I need to sit there. But I do, because you look at results like the Derby, and I did automate some of that, but most of that was me sat here looking at the market, really focusing intensely and trying to do the best job that I can. But yeah, the last wedding I went to was in December. I have done a wedding before in June. In fact, a few years ago, I was invited to a wedding in Istanbul. That was absolutely fantastic as well. I'll never forget that. The experience of being in Istanbul was quite something else, and the wedding actually took place on the bridge that crosses the Bosphorus Strait, and they had the wedding right next to the bridge. So it was a fantastic backdrop to the wedding, and it was something I'd never been in Istanbul for any length of time. So it was great to go through that particular experience and do all of those things. So I wouldn't miss that for the world. And the interesting thing about that wedding as well is it's funny, and I've told you this in previous videos, how your life takes a different path just through little moments where it could be 50-50 and you could go one way or the other. But I was sat in the hotel in the centre of Istanbul, and there were a couple opposite me having breakfast there one morning, and I just introduced myself to them. We had a chat, and it turned out that they were over from Los Angeles and that they were both actors. And there's a long and complicated story, but they knew loads of people, and they were in that particular scene. So one year when I went to California, I nipped into LA, got in contact with them, and I ended up at a Halloween party in Burbank. So with a load of other people, and I'm not going to go in to all of the detail, but yeah, it was a very interesting evening and something completely unexpected, and that would have happened if I hadn't have spoken to them on top of the hotel when I was in Istanbul. So yeah, it's whatever situation you're in, just talk to people, and you never know what can come out of those strange situations. But yeah, This weekend I won't be trading, but I will. But it's going to be a great opportunity for me to actually chill a bit, and it's fallen perfectly for me in terms of being either side of a couple of big meetings. So it's an opportunity for me to chill out a bit, relax, and enjoy the wedding. So yeah, if you wonder why I've been a little bit quieter this Saturday, that's the reason why. I'm probably at this very moment, having had a little bit too much to drink and eat, I will be enjoying myself at the wedding reception in a hotel somewhere. And I'm looking forward to that. It'll be nice actually to have a little bit of a break, because we've got Ascot coming right up, and obviously we're going to put a lot of attention and effort into that. So an opportunity to recharge my batteries ahead of Ascot is very welcome. But yeah, it's important to get that bit of your life right, and especially with the ability to automate stuff nowadays. You know, the pressure isn't on for you to be actively sat at your desk if you really need to be. If you want to perform at the highest level, you don't want to miss those days, but nonetheless, you don't want to miss those big life moments as well.